Masculine Geek, where men gather to discuss life, love, and all things geek. And unlike most YouTube channels, we don't beg for super chats. We don't play cutesy little sound bites. That crap is lame and feminine. We're men swapping notes and gathering together for men talk. We don't whine about politics or trendy red meat topics. That's juvenile 13th grade garbage. Masculine Geeks are men of courage and honor that gather together to discuss our hobbies and interests. Get on board, gentlemen. All men are geeks. Stop denying it, you bastards. And some of us are tabletop role-playing game geeks. Join us for some non-SJW, non-woke, non-PC bullshit, old-school advanced Dungeons and Dragons. At least once per month, sometimes twice, we get together with Dungeon Master Rollo Tomasi and Drew Baye for some dice slinging in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. If you're tired of the woke assholes that abound in tabletop gaming, these sniveling, overly sensitive, easily offended dipshits, then be sure to tune into Masculine Geek Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We're not politically correct. We're raw, unfiltered, and uncensored Dungeons and Dragons gamers. Get on board, pussies. We're making history. No broads allowed. Get your own game, ladies. Spurgs and tards need not apply.
Spurgs and tards need not apply. All right, everyone, welcome to Masculine Geek. That's right, Masculine Geek number 276, live stream AD&D game, the Drew Baye campaign, session number 32. Drew, take it away.
All right, so when we left off, the party had tracked the thief's sled to an inn in the middle of Jorvik. He, of course, had stolen all of the gold and jewelry and everything that had been bet on the large cave bear slave pit fight, and had made off with that. And you did manage to track him to an inn, and I believe the inn was called Freya's Bounty. Yes, Freya's Bounty Inn, where you found that he had assaulted one of the bar or tavern wenches, murdered the bookie from the pit fight, taken all of the money that had been bet, and you were unable to capture him in the inn. He had somehow managed to slip out, and apparently he had done so by wearing the clothing that he had taken from the tavern wench, and he had cut the face, the skin, beard, and everything off of the bookie to wear as a mask to disguise himself. As you were making your way out into the inn, you were attacked by several mercenary thug types who Sled had paid to dispatch you, to delay you. And when we left off, you had pretty much, I think you killed all of them. Did you kill all of them, or did you leave one of them for the guards?
There was one, I think, the one that we set fire to his ass, and the rest of it, we fucked him up pretty good.
That's right. He probably wants to be dead.
Probably.
And the guards, I believe, had just started to come in, of course, attracted by the noise and the ruckus that you'd raised there, not to mention the lightning bolt that had crashed down through the roof of the inn, through the roof, through the ceiling, between the first and second floors to strike the thug, just killing him outright. And unfortunately, the survivor, none of them knew which way Sled had gone. So you are now in the inn, and elsewhere, it has been just about long enough that the ranger, Galdor, should be just about finishing up the ritual, casting the spell, or I guess casting the ritual spell, whatever, of animal friendship on the armored cave bear from the pit fight earlier. So I'm assuming, of course I don't want to take agency away from any of the PCs, but I'm assuming he's going to attempt to make his way into town to find the rest of you. Is that what Geldor is doing now that he has befriended this cave bear and it seems to have warmed him a little bit?
Yeah, I'm riding that bad boy into town. We're going to go hunting down some other people.
All right. As you ride this massive cave bear, and again, this thing on all fours is about 10 feet at the shoulders. This thing is absolutely massive. And it is covered in sort of a brown, black fur, but a lot of it, its head down to its snout, its shoulders, back, pretty much everything except
That's
some
awesome.
of its underside is covered with oiled leather armor with studs in it all around. So you probably want to throw a blanket on that thing before you attempt to ride it, or you're going to get poked in some sensitive places. But this thing, it's not just a massive bear, but it is wearing this heavy studded leather armor that the call it the circus or the carnival, whatever, slave master, pit master had custom made for it. And now this thing is your mount.
Just a quick question, Drew. What time of day is it?
It is now really late in the evening. It is probably
we need to rest.
Getting to be around 1, 2, something like that. So it doesn't take him long riding this thing towards downtown, and there's a bit of a commotion. So with the commotion caused by the lightning strike and the noise, everything from the fight, it has attracted what few people were still out in the street. So Geldor is he knows where there is a lot of crowd gathering, that there's probably trouble caused by the rest of you. So you are able to very quickly reunite, and everybody makes way. The guards, the people, all give Geldor and this cave bear a very wide berth. They just stand in awe.
Damn right.
As some of you are walking out, and the guards are now dragging out the burnt and very broken thug, the last surviving one of the four that attacked you. Somebody, you notice somebody in the crowd is paying very close attention to him and starts making his way towards you. It looks like a beggar, a little rough looking. Obviously, he's doesn't look like he's eaten for a bit. He's a pretty dirty, pretty ragged cloak that he's wearing, and he approaches Bjorn and says, I saw them talking to somebody before they went in there. And you can smell the mead on this guy. Obviously, he's pretty deep in his cups. So he's a little bit shaky, but he puts his hand on your shoulder, and he says, I can point the way, but I'm very thirsty and I'm very hungry. And he doesn't look that thirsty, but he does look like he could use a good meal.
I give him a few silvers and say, go with Thor's blessing, but point us in the direction of the person with whom these men spoke.
So he starts telling you that he was in an alley just down the way drinking when Sled had approached he didn't say Sled, but when the man had approached those men who were standing by the end of the alley, and he overheard him talking to them about offering them money to stop a group of thieves who were attempting to rob him of his winnings. And they had been tracking him. He had spun this whole story. Anyways, he gives you a brief. And he said that after speaking with them, that he passed them on the alley, indicating that he was headed towards the east of the city. And you know that there is a gate on that side.
Okay.
And he gives you a description that fits pretty much what you would expect. The description of the bookie.
Okay.
Because of course he is wearing his face, but
Right.
he did say that that he had a bloodied. Yeah, he was a little bit bloodied, the clothes that he was wearing, and that they seemed strange. Of course, he was wearing a woman's clothes that had been stolen.
Right. The guardsman that's near us, I asked him, is there any kind of signal that amongst you that you can give that will immediately shut gates, in particular the east gate? I don't know if they have a whistle or bells or something like that that they can ring that would automatically close the gate in Jorvik.
He looks around and he says, wait. He looks around amongst the guards and he runs over to one of them and taps him on the shoulder, and you see him start gesturing, animated. And then he lets out 3 blasts on a horn. 1, 2, and then a much longer one.
Okay.
And he said that we have signals for things like this, and this should cause them to close the gate. Now, a little bit of time has passed, though.
Okay.
And the beggar now says, if you could spare just a bit more, I can lead you to the alley.
Well, I've already given him several silvers. I wasn't chintzy about it, so I mean, we've done quite well for ourselves. So Thor sacrifices his goats to feed people. The least I can do is give plenty of silver so that not only he won't drink it all, but we'll actually get some food in the process too. So I wasn't.
What's your charisma?
My charisma's 14.
Roll a d20.
All right. I rolled an 18.
18. Okay. I was planning to add a modifier to that. It makes it so he says, well, okay, I will show you.
Okay.
So, I don't know why I'm narrating the mechanics. That's not important. Anyways, so
it might help someone in the audience.
Yeah, if guys wonder what the hell is going on, how is this working, throw it out there, and as long as it doesn't disrupt things. So he starts to motion for you to come with him, and this guy, as he turns around, he smells of more than meat. It looks like he's in desperate need of a bath. So you might want to stay a few steps back, but he leads you down the street a ways, and then into an alley. And I want everybody to roll a d20 here.
I was going to say, where is everybody else? D20 here. I'm using my wrist.
Isn't everybody following? Not just I'm assuming that it's the group.
Well,
does everybody follow?
Bjorn and I are never really far apart.
Yeah. And I do tell Ulfr that while I don't detect any deception on his part, obviously be watchful and right. Keep your distance so he can't do anything
right. I've got Carl kind of flying around too, sticking close to Bjorn and I, but Carl's doing reconnaissance, and I rolled a 16.
Okay.
I rolled a 9.
Everybody else got?
I rolled a 13.
I think
Thor's muted. I got 17.
Okay, so actually,
I have an 8.
Who got the 8?
Thor did.
Thor here. Vidar.
So Vidar, I guess in the name, notices something at the same time that Galdor's bear just kind of nuzzles past him, and starts sniffing at a pile of refuse in the alley.
Sled's hiding in place. I set fire to that shit.
And it looks like just a bunch of garbage and literal shit that people have tossed out.
And this is
rotten fruits, some broken pottery, things like
trained
that.
cave bear, huh? Or
yes,
Yep.
and it's kind of sniffing that out at the same time that Thor notices something looks off, or a Vidar notices something looks off over there.
Is it something unusual about the bear itself?
No, the bear is with that. The bear is with you.
Oh,
The bear is a trained fighting
Bears.
And
Bears mine.
Galdor
is riding it.
Galdor cast a spell on it. Now it's his friend.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
So he now has a
we
trained.
have a cave bear.
Well, let's get our hands dirty and look in that pile.
So what catches your eye is what looks like a face in the refuse. And the bear sort of nudges it, and you see that is exactly what it is. It is the detached skin, the face and beard from the bookie that Sled had murdered back in the inn.
Yeah.
So Sled had discarded the face.
Oh, okay. So this is the way he went.
Literally.
Yeah.
Well, we're on the right track, gentlemen.
Face off.
And speaking
Does this guy
of
look
which,
like John Travolta?
Right. Face
he
off.
does not look like John Travolta or Nicolas Cage. Imagine that he looks like Aaron Clary,
That's even worse.
but a little scruffy and medieval.
Hey, Drew, what's the ground like in this alleyway?
So the ground in this alleyway is a mix of stone with layers of dirt and what looks like dried shit and garbage. This has probably been some place where people just kind of dump literal shit and garbage. And it has been raining earlier, so it is a little bit muddy, but also that means that Galdor, and Rangers kind of notice these things. It is, you don't even have to roll. It is clear as day to Galdor that there are some tracks. Now they are very faint, and I need to check something real quick.
Now, question for is Geldar that cast the spell on the cave bear?
Yes, and it's permanent.
All right, let me just ask him. I'll pick up the face and ask Geldar, can we use this with the cave bear to sniff and track for us?
Well, you got a ranger and 2 barbarians. We all can track.
Oh,
We can all
okay.
track. Yeah, we're good.
A barbarian, you would not be able to track from the scent, but from the footprints, this is something that you grew up with, like from when you were like small, hunting and killing to provide for your tribe.
We have footprints, but we have the skin too, which I might presume that smell might still be on Sled from wearing it, right?
There's a very, very high possibility of it. So you have, now it's been raining, and this is a muddy, shitty, garbage-strewn alley. So the prints would not be noticeable to the majority of people, barely, but they're clear as day
Barely.
to the 3 of you.
Okay.
If anybody else, you'd have to look, and if you looked, you might find them. But to Galdor, it's just like, I mean, it might as well be a brightly lit sign. There might as well be a spotlight on it as far as Galdor is concerned. And the barbarians, definitely, they're like, yeah, they can.
Okay.
I mean, they could probably, by looking at the stride and the heel toe imprints and how much the mud has been shifted forward and all this, they could tell you how fast he was moving, what he weighed, and how much he was carrying. Or they could probably come up with a pretty good guess because of how shitty and muddy the alley is with the rain. So the conditions are such that you have a pretty good idea. Yeah, he was, the guy was not lying. He was going towards the east. In fact, as it goes out of the alley, it does curve back in that direction.
Okay. Thank you.
And the bear does seem to pick up the scent. Yes. So the bear, after getting a couple good whiffs of this, seems to, and I'm assuming that Galdor can sort of communicate with this thing somehow with the animal friendship spell. So
Telepathic.
Perfect. So it gets what the intent is. I mean, you couldn't sit down and have a deep conversation with it, but your basic intent, it understands. We want to find where this scent leads. And yeah, the bear starts kind of lumbering forward, and he's making a little bit of a mess out of the tracks, but not too much because his width of his paws are a little bit wider. Once you get to the end of the alley, you can see that the tracks do continue for a short distance, although the main street that it empties out into is not as muddy and dirty. And once you get to the main street, there are a lot more tracks. So I want both barbarians and Galdor just roll a percentage die.
Percentage die. That's a 10-sided, right?
Roll 2 10-sided die. Roll one and then the other, unless you have a percentage.
Got it.
And, oh shit, I do not have. Let me get.
I'm right at 40%.
Okay. I need to open. Do I have the Unearthed Arcana sitting here? Yes, I do.
I got a 70.
Ooh, okay.
Fine.
So there should be a table for barbarians for tracking here.
It says in the book the same as ranger at that level.
71. Okay. 71.
Shit. Okay, I'm trying to find where
In my copy, which is PDF, I'll tell the page here in a second. It's page 20, where tracking and barbarian stuff should start showing up. Yeah, page 20.
There, okay. Soft enough to hold imprants and offense. Okay, allows Mars. Who got the lowest one?
I had 70.
70?
I had 40.
41.
Yeah, who rolled the lowest? With a percentage, it's always better to roll low because you want to roll. Like if you have a 50% chance of something, or let's say you have a 60% chance of something, if you were to roll 60 or under, you make it. If you were to roll higher than that, you don't. So anytime you're doing a percentage roll, the lower the number.
Vidar
the
got
better.
41, so he got the best one.
71.
Who got 41?
I got 40 on the money.
Okay, then you're good.
So,
He's got it.
so you or your character, not you, your character. So that's Galdor is able to pick up which particular tracks match the shape of the tracks from the alley. And again, it is pretty much east, although at one point it veers into another alley. And this is pretty dark. You've got some starlight. And again, I don't think we have anybody with dark vision, do we?
No, I don't think so.
No, we don't.
No.
Does the cave bear have dark vision?
I don't think it would be able to see that well. Actually, I've got all the stats right here. I just set up stats for the cave bear specifically, so I'd have this.
Nice.
Now, it doesn't have particularly good night vision or anything. So it is a little bit dark in this alley, hard to see, but you see what looks like somebody slumped up against a wall just a little ways down. And it looks like somebody else is leaning over their body.
No.
Is right.
They're staying very still.
I'm thinking the pseudo dragon needs to zap
I was
him.
gonna say, well, can Carl? Is he close enough to where I'd be able to see through his eyes and discern who those two fuckers are?
Carl has been on your shoulder pretty much the entire time. Anytime
Well,
that he's not doing anything else.
Well, I did have him do reconnaissance, so.
Oh, okay. So Carl very cautiously circles above and then lands on a rooftop on the opposite side of the alley and looks down. And I'm pretty sure the pseudo dragons can see in the dark.
I think so.
And so, seeing through his eyes, you see what looks like one body slumped over another by an intersection in the alley. And they are not moving at all.
Oh, both bodies are inert?
They are completely inert.
All right, well, I let the rest of the group know that those two bodies that are up there do not appear to be moving.
They look like guards, or at least one of them.
Dane's gonna draw.
One looks like a city guard.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my bow ready.
Do we still have that one guardsman with us?
I don't think so.
No, the guards took that guy to a dungeon for holding.
All right.
Under the Jarl's palace.
Okay.
Or they'd say longhouse.
So Dane is going to draw a sword and walk and approach the bodies and see what's going on.
I'm backing him up with my bow. I'm not going to approach, but I'll stand behind him.
As you get a little bit closer, you step in something and you look down and you notice that there is a lot of blood. You know it's blood because right away that coppery smell, there's so much of it you can almost taste it. And then you also notice that the bodies appear to have been dragged because the blood just smears through the mud and shit and stones over to where the two bodies are. And you notice they're not moving at all. They appear to be dead. The one that is slumped over the other is wearing a guard's outfit. And the other doesn't appear to have anything but his undergarments on. Just a light shirt.
Two more guardsmen and stolen one of their uniforms, which you'll probably use to try to get out.
It's kind of hard to walk around with an ass face, though.
Yep.
Should we light a torch so we can see better, guys? As we approach?
It's probably a good idea.
Let me do that then.
All right. Butter's going to light a torch.
As soon as you light the torch, you can see there is blood all over the alley. And both the guard that is leaning over the other appears to have been stabbed in the back. Where his cloak is, the whole thing is just soaked. And it looks like it was like right up where the liver would be. Which,
like an assassination.
He was backstabbed, which is kind of a thing with thieves in this game.
Yeah.
And very backstabbing with thieves, for everybody watching, super, super deadly. The higher the level of the thief, the more their damage when they sneak up and backstab somebody is multiplied. So this was an assassination. And also, once you have the light, you can see that the other body, there is no face. The entire skin has been pulled off of the skull. It is just exposed bone and meat, and with just the eyeballs and this wide stare.
So we have a new disguise and more probable as a city guard.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any markings on this guard to identify him? I understand his face is gone, but is there any way to? Do we know this guard, or does anyone in the group know this? Know of this
You
guard?
don't recognize either guard. They do not look familiar to you. The one that has had his uniform stolen does have some distinctive tattoos.
Oh, interesting. Let's look at those.
And I'm just going to roll and see. And it appears that the tattoos were related to the campaign against the elves. So he must have been to commemorate his participation in that. This is a thing that happened over the past few decades, but he was obviously one of
the victory tat.
One of those. Yep. So he was. This was not just some city guard. This was somebody who was a hardened veteran of guerrilla warfare against elves in the woods that went on for a very long period.
All right, I motioned to the trackers in the group. Since Sled has ripped off numerous times, he's ripped off other people's faces. That has to leave some kind of detritus or blood. And it's also possible in his haste to get away, he slipped or stepped in it. And is there any way? Are there any tracks that are leading away from this pile?
Yes. Again, the tracks lead away, and Bjorn intuits.
Mm-hmm.
Just almost like a voice talking to him. This thief is no fool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's not a fool. He is evil and selfish and needs to be put down.
These prints may be deceiving. They may be leading into a trap. This is not, you don't quite get the words, but you have this feeling or impression. And for those who might not remember, Bjorn received Odin's blessing and a gift of sort of a sight beyond sight and uncanny intuition about things like this. So every once in a while, he will have sort of a sense about things that seems to come from outside of himself. We get little gifts of wisdom from Odin. Or maybe it's Hugin or Munin whispering in his ear or something. But it's just something seems a little off about it. But yes, the tracks are pretty clear here. They continue around the intersection and again towards the east. And they are pretty bloody, which also he could have just been in a very big hurry to get away from you guys.
Right. So it sounds like the one guy that he's impersonating was a bona fide war hero and somebody would recognize other guards, for example. Since I'm useless as a tracker, I'm going to run to the east gate where we think he might have tried to escape and notify everybody there with a description of who this guy is impersonating.
They killed Fritz.
Right, exactly. They're going to know that they killed one of their favorite drinking buddies, and so now the guards are going to kind of have a hard on to get this guy, but they'll know who to look for.
Good idea.
Is everybody else running with him to the gate, or what's everybody else doing?
No. This is just me. I'm going to let the trackers track, but since I can't help in that regard because I have no talent there, I'm just going to get out of the way, and I'm sure I can find the party. Ahead. I'm going to run ahead, and then I'm sure I'll be able to find the ranger on the 10-foot bear and rejoin the party later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
So,
just watch your back.
I just want to look around because it looks like he was able to kill he's able to backstab a guard and then kill a veteran, which would require quite a bit of stealth and hiding. I'm going to look up, see what's going on. There's these 2-story buildings. Is there roofs? Is there any indication of blood that might lead in that direction that this attack would have been plotted from a different level to surprise these veterans rather than the ground level?
The walls on these buildings are a combination of the lower area is almost all pretty rough hewn stone. And then up above, it's just a lot of timbers. But this is a very experienced thief. And climbing something like this, even with his current handicap, would be something that he could probably manage. So that is a possibility. He could have ambushed them from above, or he could have just managed to sneak up on them in the dark. Again, magic may have also had some role in this. Don't know what he might have gotten his hands on in the interim.
Yeah.
Fourth wall break right there.
So it's there is a distinct possibility that he might have come down from above for the ambush. In fact, that
if he could have fled that way, is there any? Do I see any blood or anything of that nature up there?
The footprints just continue right on around down the alley and around the corner by the intersection that you're at, and go back towards the east.
Back to the east. Okay, good. I'll write that down.
So he does seem to be headed that way. Both of them are missing. You notice they don't have any valuables on them either.
Yeah.
So he did stop long enough.
Slid.
Yeah, he did stop long enough to take it. No rings, no armbands. Which all of the Jarl's men would have golden armband with runes, indicating that they were, of the guard. That's kind of their practically their badge, so yeah, this
shit.
And this other guy is undressed, except for just his undergarments. So there's a possibility that Sled may now be wearing not only his face, but his clothing.
Someone else's underwear?
He didn't take his underwear.
Which would indicate he might be a guard now of some kind. At least he can pose with the face for recognition. So, he would expedite his exit by doing that and being straightforward about it, not so much climbing out. So, at least my best guess.
It would make it easy for him to pass the gate this time of night without being questioned about it.
Yep. I suggest the group, that's where we go. Send that little dragon ahead and let's get there.
We can. We have to also make sure we don't get too far ahead of the paladin.
Who's playing the paladin?
That's Dane. That's Noble.
Oh, okay.
Noble's character, yeah.
So, when Dane gets to the gate, the guards inform him that the only people who have left from this side, this light, have been a couple farmers with their carts that had been here to sell at this big pit fight and big, we'll just call it a carnival, I guess would be the closest thing. A fair with a giant slave and cave bear pit fight. So some of the vendors, some of the farmers that had come into town to sell some of their goods had left, but there was also a merchant that had left with a guard that had offered to escort him along the east road, at least as far as the woods, for his safety, but the guard has not returned yet. So they were in a single horse-drawn covered cart.
Does the guard match the description of the guy, the veteran with the tattoos and the missing face?
He said that he didn't recognize that particular guard, but there are many in the city.
Okay.
Probably safe to say
It was
that's
also very dark, and they went through very quickly. He just waved him along. He just said that he's escorting him to the edge of the fields.
How many turns ago was that? I mean, time-wise, do we know?
He said that this was not that long ago. Maybe, I don't know what time scale they would use, but
an hour or so.
Not even. Maybe 15, 20 minutes before.
So we're kind of close behind him, yeah.
Well, you were. Now he's, assuming that it's him, he's in a horse-drawn cart. And there are fields that go for a few miles before it hits the tree line where the forest is, that is between Jorvik, and the forest extends way out.
Right. I'm gonna gather. So Dane is still not with us yet. All right, I'm gonna gather everyone to a group.
Dane was at the gate. Dane is the guy that knows this.
I'm at the gate, so I'm going to assume that there's a stable nearby, and I can commandeer a horse because we have a good reputation with these guards. And I'm going to haul ass after him, and I'm going to tell the guards that my pals are probably going to be right behind me, and let them know where I'm going. But
there aren't any stables nearby, but 2 of the guards have horses.
I'm happy to compensate them for borrowing one of them.
Oh, shit.
Okay. He takes your gold and says, take the horse, because the gold is enough for him to get another one, I guess. We'll just assume. I don't know what a horse would cost, but you guys would know all that.
So we're not there with Dane right now, right?
No, and you don't know this yet. Dane went ahead and found this out because he ran to the gate, which from where you are now is just maybe a mile or so down the road. So
the guards will let you know when you catch up.
Are you now? If you're following the tracks, though, you're going to meet him about halfway, because in the time it took him to get there, talk to the guards, and then compensate for the horse and start coming back, you're maybe about halfway to the gate now.
Okay.
So, what does everybody want to do?
What? Just to backtrack a little bit. What is our main objective with the Jarl? What did we promise him?
The main objective with the Jarl was to deal with the problem of the werewolves that you were having.
And did we do that?
You did, as far as you know.
Okay. And now have we gone back to report to the Jarl and say, hey, we're done with this. Give us whatever boon you decide to lay upon us is good, but we need your help with this sled fucker.
I think that I can check her previous episodes. I think the Jarl's already aware of this.
Okay. Making sure. And, I want to make sure we're not getting too far afield of our objectives.
No, so you
sled is definitely kind of a side quest, as it were.
Yeah, sled was released by the Jarl. Otherwise, he'd be sitting in a dungeon somewhere. Specifically because he was familiar with where the werewolves' den was in all those thieves' tunnels.
I remember
and
that.
old
Yeah.
hiding areas beneath the west side of Jorvik. So he was only with you with that, and then after, he got away. So
the best way to get the sled is let him attack us. That seems to be how he does these cut and run tactics, and we wind up overcoming him and then giving him a second chance. So just keep that in mind.
I hear you, but I feel like we're responsible now for the death of a few guards because we're the ones that said, "Hey, let's turn him loose so he can help us find the werewolves."
Well, yes and no, because the Jarl turned him loose.
Yes. Although you were also hunting him for the reward from the guy who ran the fair and the pit fight.
Well, in the moment, that's changed because I'm going to go with Noble on this. He did slaughter 2 more guards, so fuck that guy. And when we do find, however we find him, he's done. I think I'm unanimous in that.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
outlived his usefulness, and
Correct. Yeah. So at
you know,
this point, it's
he's
like
not redeemable.
no,
Release the bears on
there's
me.
no. Yeah, there's no redemption. Yeah, he owes. You know, there's several things he owes, but so there's no redemption here. I don't splitting the party is probably not a great idea. However, Noble's already made his decision. He's on his way. I think it best if we follow as best we can after Noble and try to catch up and help him.
I thought Noble was coming back to meet you guys and tell you what he learned.
No, he was going on.
He was going on the fucking. He was going on the fucking horse and just going full bore and going after it.
He's going Rambo.
I'm Leroy Jenkins here because I know that he's got a 15-minute head start with a cart, and I don't want to lose him.
Yeah,
so I
just
figured
watch your back,
jump
man.
on a horse, I can haul ass and at least get within sight of him and keep, because he's going to kill the guy in the cart.
He's
going to kill the guy in the cart.
It takes to get from the gate to the forest line walking?
That's a good question.
Walking, it's probably, I'm just going to roll see what it is. To the forest, it is just about 6 miles. So a lot of fields. The fields go on for a bit before you get to the forest.
If they walk 3 miles an hour, that's
it starts
2
getting
hours.
dense. So if it's 6 miles, if you're moving at a good pace, you can get there in about 2 hours. The cave bear could probably carry 2 of you. This thing is massive.
I was going to say, can the cave bear keep up with Dane? Because if he can, I'm hauling ass after Dane.
I don't think a bear can run as fast as a horse, even one that big. I think they go like 30, 40 miles per hour or something like that, which is booking, but I don't think that's like horse speed, at least not over shorter distances. But you guys don't know where Dane is either.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he went to the gate and you haven't heard back from him because he decided to just keep going. If, however, you were to follow the tracks, it might lead you there. So I gotta not ask leading questions. I need to leave this more open ended. What does everybody do?
I've been tracking him, so I would continue that. I mean, if he's left his skin behind, I'm still tracking. I've got scent. I've got
the bear's nose and your eyes.
Half a face.
Lead you to, because he smells the corpse, the face of the corpse too, and they lead you to that gate.
Okay, so we talked to the guards then, and they let us know where Dane went.
Flying carpet.
The guards tell you what they told Dane and tell you that he bought a horse and he just took off.
All right, let's. Fuck. You guys have a wagon?
They do not have a wagon there. They do have one other horse. There were 2 guards.
We're going to pile on one horse.
Bear. I mean, the barbarians do have horsemanship as a skill already.
So we can get
time, right? Vince.
How many? All right, so let's get like 2 people on a horse and like 5 other people on the bear.
Vince,
it's gonna take the bear can carry you guys, but it's gonna take a little bit of time.
It's still faster than we can walk.
Okay, so Dane is flying.
Oh, he's flying. We're on a bear and a horse.
You guys are a little bit slower than the bear and the horse, and so after going
you have horsemanship,
down this
you have
road,
bearsmanship.
Hang on, before we go down this road, can I ask Vince's character? We know that they're still at least an hour away from the forest line. You have a dragon that can fly, right? That's got to be 30 miles an hour.
Well, the only problem is I'm only in communication in a certain telepathically communicated to Carl under a certain.
Is it like 120
limit.
feet?
It's a little longer than that, but it's like.
It's not miles though.
120 or 180, but that would be yards. So,
but you could have him fly up and fly up however high he can max to get.
Well,
sight,
no,
right?
I always have Carl doing reconnaissance when we're doing engaged in these things. He's never on my shoulder when we're engaged.
Is it possible for him to get out there to watch the trap? Obviously, the sled set up. Carl
will always be on the aware of any kind of weirdness that's coming into the party. Yeah, correct. Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
I'm not even on that, so just ask.
I smell what you're cooking.
I have a piece of swag from one of our previous battles. I have a potion of flying.
And I was going to say, Vince, didn't you have a spell? Was it your Tensor's floating disc that you used, or I was thinking you had flight.
I
can fly. I do have a fly spell, but I don't want to waste that on this yet.
Yeah, but it's just one spell. Hopefully, you can memorize it again once we rest.
Well, what's your plan for me to use the fly spell?
Well, I was going to say, depending on what your move rate is, because I don't have the spell in front of me, so I don't know if it's comparable to your walking/running movement rate.
No, it's definitely faster than the bear and walking. I mean, combined.
Okay. Well, if there's another horse there, then one of us can ride on the horse, 2 ride on the bear. If you do the flying, obviously my hammer of Thor is not like the Marvel comic character, because I can't just swing the sucker over my head by its leather thong and hurl myself great distances. But
I can fly 120 yards per move. It's 12 inches, which is 100, and outside it's 120 yards.
Right.
So
I mean, if nothing else, you might be able to use that to catch up to Dane, if not to actually catch up to the dragon.
Yeah, I could do that for about 2 hours. I'll cast Fly upon myself. And we do need to rest soon because I'm woefully low on spells, and I don't like that. So yeah. I'll cast Fly on myself, and I'll range far out ahead with Carl by my side, and my wand in my hand. My wand.
So, as you're all mounting up on the horse and the bear
and flying,
yeah, Ulfr just floats up and whoosh, goes flying off,
robes flapping,
and the guards are just standing there staring dumbfounded at this. They've never seen such powerful magic before. And as you are flying, you can see up ahead Dane just galloping along.
I'm yelling at Dane. We're behind you.
Do the barbarians have any kind of abilities as far as running unmounted?
Hang on a second. Does it hear me?
That's what I think too.
Yeah, we do. We do have running, as this skill enables the barbarian to move at full speed, twice normal movement rate, for no less than 3 full days before having to rest and spend a day moving at normal rate.
All right, so we've got the ranger on the bear. The barbarians are going to take off at a run. Then I will borrow the other horse. Yeah. So that has all of us mounted, moving as fast as possible, chasing after, since Ulfr's flying. So that should take care of all of us.
Now, the first one to encounter something.
Well, does Dane hear me yell?
He does hear you yell, and as he hears you yell, Dane, make a roll a d20.
Oh shit, that's never good.
Bum, bum, bum.
Well, Drew hasn't dropped an F-bomb yet, so we don't know. It may be bad, it may not be.
Drink.
11.
Okay, so you notice something just beyond the tree line. There are a couple dark shapes moving just past the tree line. And you can't quite make out what they are, but you get the sense that it is something four-legged.
Well, I'm aware now that the rest of the party is soon to catch up with me, so I don't need to be stupid about it now that I have eyes on the target. Assuming that, I'm guessing that he's got werewolf buddies or something that he's meeting up with. So this is getting a little more spicy. So I'm gonna hold up and let the wizard kind of do his reconnaissance from a safe distance. Now that I know that we haven't lost track of our target.
Hey, Drew, quick question as well. Did we get any healing in from last session?
Any healing in from last session?
I don't think so.
No.
No, you haven't had time because this is like picking up
Okay.
right after that. So
Yeah.
if you're still a little beat up, you might want to talk to Bjorn and see if he's got any healing.
Okay.
All right. So, Dane, what do you do? You see a bunch of shapes moving just beyond the tree line.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop the horse, and I'm gonna point with my long sword in the direction where I see the shapes, so that because I know Vince is above me now, and point in the direction where I see the movement, so that he knows where to look. But I'm gonna wait for the rest of the people on the ground to catch up to me before we charge into that mess.
As you slow to a trot from a gallop, your horse starts getting a little bit twitchy and nervous and doesn't want to go any further. It starts resisting. It starts rearing up just a little bit. You can tell it's getting anxious about whatever it is that
right. Yeah, I'm guessing that
smells something.
Yeah, I'm guessing that our buddy has made pals with some of the werewolves or something similar, and that's where he's going to rendezvous with. So I'm going to hold up now that I see that there's more out there than just a guy in a cart.
There's no cart.
Well, he had a cart. He was on a cart, right?
Yeah, you don't see any cart. All you see is some shapes moving just behind. Oh, I mean, yeah, the presumably, if Sled was disguised as the guard, he was escorting the merchant on his horse-drawn cart out in that direction. So you don't see the cart, you don't see the horse or anything sign of them. But again, it was raining earlier, if you recall. It was light rain, so it's a little bit muddy. There do appear to be some relatively fresh horse and wheel tracks, though. In fact, several, because there were some other farmers that went this way as well. Although they probably peeled off at different places. Farms, most of the farms seem to be concentrated in the fields that are just right around where Jorvik is. They want to stay close because it's convenient for selling and protection.
Right.
And they're probably on the Jarl's land. They're probably paying taxes too. So.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to hold up until the rest of the party is here and the wizard's able to get more information.
You notice what look like a few pairs of yellow eyes reflecting off the moonlight now, looking in your direction from just beyond the tree line. Just some dark silhouettes, but very bright yellow.
Who notices that?
Dane notices that. And
so
now that you are getting closer, so does Carl.
Okay, so I see this.
He can make out the shapes a little better. It looks like there appear to be a few wolves peering at something just past the trees.
How far behind are we at this point?
At this point, at the pace that you're moving, you are probably just another 30 minutes or so behind.
All right, so Carl sees this. He relays that back to me. I will relay that back to my companions. There are some kind of wolves. There's glowing yellow eyes and some shit, and Dane might be in trouble. So let's step this movement up.
They are not attacking, but two of them move a little bit closer to the tree line, and you can see that they're kind of starting to, or Dane notices this, Carl notices this, and as Ulfr, as you fly closer, you can start to make out some of, again, it's dark, but the moon, the stars, you can make out just the shapes beyond the tree lines. They seem to not be approaching, but kind of standing between Dane and the other wolves and whatever is that has their attention just beyond that tree line.
No.
Right, I'm still gonna wait it out. I'm not charging into a pack of wolves like a moron.
All right. I'm assuming that Ulfer and Carl get there first.
So what Dane's saying, he may be quote-unquote lawful good, but he's not lawful stupid.
Yeah, you know.
I'll fly
heroic
in
to a point.
I'll fly in to above where Dane is and let him know that I'm Carl and I. Yo, Dane, we're up here. Look up. We're up here. We're flying above you. We've got your back. So we're the guys and that bastard bear are close behind.
I'm assuming the bear will be the last one since it's slower than the horse and the two barbarians running.
The barbarians will probably be a little behind the bear.
Oh,
than the horse. Yeah, not quite that fast, but they're almost keeping pace.
Faster,
Dane,
you fool, you fool.
Yeah, this is a long shot, but let's.
I would assume they could, at their best, would be like a 4-minute mile. So that'd be really not possible with all the stuff.
They are. This is a fantasy world, and these barbarians would be able to do fantastic things. So that's not too much of a stretch.
Okay.
I think that they might be able to do that kind of speed. These are not your normal average run-of-the-mill villagers and farmers and fighters. They're adventurers because they are superior physically, and you hear what sounds like a groan from the woods in the midst of this snarling and snapping of these wolves.
So now I have to assume that
Oh, that sounds like fuck that guy then. Let's leave. That sled. Fuck him.
We should be so lucky.
You made your bed laying it.
That would be funny. I'm not. No spoilers. No spoilers. That would be funny though.
Right? Hey, sled. Yeah. Fuck you. Bye. You need some help? That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's a possibility that could also be the merchant that he had sort of kidnapped. So I'm gonna let
Ulfer and Carl.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Ulfer know that I hear somebody in distress in that direction. And
all right, does Ulfer hear this? Ulfer and Carl hear this?
Yeah. Ulfer hears this moaning too, because Carl can hear it, so Ulfer can hear it.
Yeah. All right. I'll head in that direction, but I'll still be flying. I'm not hitting the ground yet. I'm going to remain out of range of any kind of snapping and snarling and biting.
Okay. So you're not right now. As you get a little bit closer, and is Carl going to kind of get down a little bit above where he's got a little better?
Yeah, it's a good vantage point where he can actually see and give us like intelligent reconnaissance.
So you see a body lying there, and the wolves are like chewing on, like tearing at his innards. He's just lying there, help me, now that he sees you. And he appears to not have any hands. His arms look like they were either chewed or chopped off at the wrists.
All right. So I see this, not just Carl, but I see this.
Yeah. Well, Carl sees it and you see it. Dane isn't close enough to make out the details, but right. he's just kind of like moaning.
Well,
and these things are tearing at him.
Do I recognize the garb? Is it a garb of a guard?
No, it's not the garb of a guard. It looks like he is a little bit it's nice clothes. It looks like it, from what you can tell, fine quality boots and pants, and it looks like he has a rather nice tunic with trim and whatnot. Although it's kind of torn up and bloody right now, you can still see that he was a little bit more upper class.
So probably the merchant.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sled probably chopped off his hands, threw them out for the wolves, and rode on basically to slow us down.
All right. Is this merchant bleeding out?
He is bleeding a lot.
Okay. So
The
I'm going
wounds are
to
sounding weaker.
I'm going to approach and try to get to the merchant in time to cast Lay on Hands. Even though I know that he's surrounded by angry wolves, I'm going to hope that approaching on the horse might spook them off long enough to do that.
Okay.
Scare him off with your cod piece.
Yeah, I'm going to, cast Glowing Cod Piece. Seduce the wolves.
Cod piece spell, but I will
Seduce
I'll
something.
roll for intimidation here. See if they are intimidated.
I have 17 charisma, which is what should apply there.
My bear's getting turned on by that.
I mean, how could he not?
Bear's got to buy me dinner first.
The two of the wolves that were chewing on him, two of them back off into the woods. But the others, now that they see you, so there were 5 of them. 2 of them kind of pulled back when you came up. One of them came forward to join the other 2, and now they're baring their teeth and they're bristling, and these are substantial wolves. They're not like little dog coyote size things. They're good sized wolves, but they want to protect their meal. Behind them, this guy, you can see him kind of curl up and try to roll in the other direction. He looks like he's a little bit of a mess. So they are slowly moving towards you, and right now they're about halfway between him and you, and they're starting to fan out a little bit, and your horse is getting nervous.
Well, the horse can suck it up, and I'm riding in there like, Eomer charging the orcs on the 5th day. And I'm trying to attack. I'd rather attack from horseback than on foot if I can.
On the 3rd day, look to the east.
That was the 5th.
It's 5th day.
7th, 8th, 9th.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Second breakfast.
What about 3rd day?
Roll a d20, and what is your strength?
Strength is 16.
Stop it.
Okay, roll a d20.
I rolled a fat 2.
Oh, man.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
A horse rears up and starts to kind of step back a little bit and then comes back down. You are able to grab and hang on to the reins and not get thrown.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
So yeah, that's a good roll there. If you had not rolled under your strength, it would have been bad. You wouldn't have been able to hang on.
All right. Well, yeah, that.
So,
that would
but the
be
wolves
embarrassing.
are approaching. So I'm going to have you now roll a d6, and everybody else is now just about 15 minutes out. They're getting close.
Okay, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so you actually and your horse get to go first.
Oh, okay. So I roll for attack.
3 wolves. Yep. Well, what do you want to do?
I'm going to attack the one that's closest to me, and try to make an example of him.
Okay.
I need to roll again because I threw my dice clear across the room. All right, I rolled an 18.
Okay, that's going to hit.
Okay.
I don't even have to look up your numbers.
Okay.
That definitely hits. I'm going to look it up so I've got it though.
All right.
Windows open. Here it is.
Let's see. The two-handed sword is it's 1d10 against normal or 3d6 against large.
Yeah, they're not quite that large. So 1d10.
All right, and then +1 for the strength bonus. So
That +1 also gets added to your attack roll, so that would be a 19, not an 18.
Right. Okay, so I rolled a 9 for the damage.
Oh fuck! Okay,
+1.
so
that's 10.
Okay, so
and this is a +3 sword.
Oh, it's a plus. That will you add your strength and then you add that to the attack.
All right, so that makes it a 13.
So as you come up on the horse, this wolf lunges, and I'm assuming that you're coming down with your right, turning to your right, so your strong arm towards, and you take this thing's head clear off. You nail it so perfectly with the arc and the sword edge that you barely feel it as the sword slices through, fur, skin, meat, gristle, and bone, and the head goes flying over your shoulder, and the body slams into the side of the horse and just drops to the ground. Your horse stumbles a little bit, but is able to maintain, and then. Fuck. Okay. Your horse rears up and slams the other nearest wolf a couple times with its front hooves, battering it and knocking it back a bit.
Nice.
So the first one is dead. The second one seems to have gotten pretty fucking clobbered. Ulfer, you're like right hovering above him, just flying here. You see all this happening. Do you do anything?
Can I attack one of the wolves?
He's TikToking it for me.
That's right.
There's another wolf.
I'm filming. I'm magically filming everything.
Right.
All right. A little more feeling. A little more feeling. So
I'm going to get so much tail when this goes viral.
That's right. This is going to work for you. I mean, you got the codpiece. What else do you want? Jesus Christ! So, how many are there of these wolf in the wolf pack?
2 of them have pulled back into the woods a little bit, and they're just kind of pacing, but they're a little bit intimidated. They haven't fled, but they're not engaging. They're hesitant. Dane just took one's head clear off, and his horse just battered the other with its hooves. And then there's one on his left side right now.
He should be able to take care of that. I'm going to light a torch in the air and throw it down to the other 2 that are sort of cowering off to the side. I don't care if I light this forest on fire.
Well, I'm going to make 2 rolls, one to see if it catches fire. It's been raining, though, so we'll take that into account. And the other to see if the wolves are intimidated. And so one of the wolves takes off running into the woods.
All right. Guys, tossing just to kind of scare them away. I don't waste a spell on these assholes.
And we're right by the we're right by the tree line, where the tall grasses and the field are close, and the fire does start spreading a little bit, and all now right, the guy on the ground is moaning louder. Help! Help!
Somebody shut that asshole up.
And as this is happening, let's see who the other wolf attacks. Does it go after the horse? Oh shit! The other wolf attacks the horse and misses. The horse is able to, and Dane, roll a d20, and the horse just rears up hard as this thing comes up, and it just misses it, but
sorry, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so again, you're able to hold on. You got the one hand, but you were able to hold on. The other wolf just bounces off the horse. The horse is able to rear up and avoid the attack.
Nice.
So now, a minute. So now these guys are just a few minutes out. So what do you do?
I'm going to attack the wolf that just tried to attack me.
The first one that attacked you, you killed. The second one, your horse battered. So the one that your horse battered, or the one that your horse just dodged? It attacked your horse, not you.
The one that attacked my horse we just dodged.
All right.
Okay, I rolled a 16 for that, plus 1 for strength and plus 3 for the sword. So that's
that with your level and what you need to hit armor class 0, you would have to have a really shitty roll to not hit these rolls. So
okay. So then roll for damage.
Yep.
Okay, I rolled a natural 8, and then I add 3 plus 1 to that, so that's a 12.
Fuck. Okay, so as the horse comes back down, and this wolf is just turning to orient itself to get you again. So, will you tell me are you stabbing at it? Are you swiping at it? How do you want to do this? How do you want to attack it?
I'm probably just stabbing it at this point because I'm holding on for dear life.
Left side. So your sword goes right in one eye and just right through its head and out the back of its neck on the other side. And it does stick in there for a little bit, but the thing starts sort of twitching. And after it twitches for a while, it just slumps and you're able to pull the sword out and it just drops to the ground, blood spraying. The horse is now going to go after the other, and it tries to hit the other one in front of it again, but the wolf manages to just get out of the way at the last second. Ulfer, you see all this happening from above, and you can now hear the other horse in the distance. You look back, and they're getting close. They're maybe about 7-8 minutes out. What do? There's one other wolf that's by this guy. The fire is starting to spread. He's moaning pathetically.
All right, so what I'm going, I'll float down and try to get this maimed merchant and get him out of range of the fire and the wolves.
Okay. So as you're flying down, you can. Let me see if the wolf does anything. I don't think. Well, we'll find out in the next. No, the wolf, the one that's close to the horse, that he is completely focused on Dane and the horse. The one that didn't flee is stepping back now. It's watching you, but it's being really wary. So as you get close, you can see this guy is like really getting pale, and he's just, his eyes are starting to roll in the back of his head. He's in pretty fucking bad shape. And it looks, now that you can see that he's rolled over, the front of his clothes looked really nice.
Yeah.
But you can see that the back of his clothes are all completely torn. His back, his entire backside is torn up and muddy and bleeding. And it looks like he's had ropes tied around his arms just below where they've been cut.
Yeah, I'd say Slow was here. Hi. All right, I'll get him out. I'll get him to do be a safety.
Okay. So you are able to get him and still fly. He's not super heavy or anything. He's just average weight man.
I'm gonna yell out, "Get him to Bjorn. I'll deal with the wolves."
All right. I hear this, and Carl and I will fly along with this lame ass merchant back towards towards Bjorn, and I'm yelling for Bjorn as I go.
So as the rest of you are coming up the road, just fast as you can, now you see Ulfer flying towards you, holding what appears to be a somewhat bloodied body, and you also smell smoke. And you see what looks like a fire beginning to spread off ahead of you in the distance, just a little bit off to east, northeast or so.
Yes.
The fire is slowly spreading to the fields in your direction. Let's see which way the wind is.
Bjorn! Need your healing.
Okay.
Okay. Wind is blowing sort of north, so at least it's not coming towards you, but it's
slowly making its way.
Spreading a little bit.
Should probably get back out of here soon. Well, Bubba.
A forest fire.
Yep, it's my signature.
So, as you guys are flying back, now it's back to Dane and the wolves. And wait a second. So, the remaining wolf attempts now to go after, let's see, the horse, I would imagine, can make more sense. It does manage to bite the horse.
Oh, shit.
And let's see damage this fucker does. That's actually not going to kill your horse, but it's going to suck. Oh, shit. So it manages to get up and sink its teeth into the side of the neck of the horse briefly, and it clamps down on that thing, and your horse starts bucking again. Make another roll a d20 again.
Who?
Oh, Dane. Sorry, Dane.
I rolled a 1.
You managed to hang on. Again, a 1 is not bad unless it's an attack roll.
Got it. Even though
there's no critical fails with skill checks.
Got it. Okay.
Different.
Worried about that.
So
right, well,
you managed to hang on still, but now there's this fucking wolf that's got its teeth in your fucking horse's neck, and it's sitting there, which also means that it is not going to be able to evade you as effectively. So what do you want to do? This thing is like on your left side, right fucking hanging on your horse's neck.
Yeah, I need to stab the wolf like through the neck, so that it dislodges from my horse.
Make an attack roll, and we're gonna modify this. I don't think you're gonna need any help hitting this thing right here, but
I rolled a 10 natural.
That still hits.
+4.
Yeah. With that and with the modifier that I would have added for the fact that the horse is, it's like the fucking wolf is attached to your horse. It's not going anywhere. It's not going to be able to dodge you without letting go.
Right. And then I rolled a natural 6 for damage, so that should be with the modifiers 10 points.
You ram the sword right through between its eyes into, and then split the skull, pulling it up out, and it just falls onto the ground dead off of the horse. The horse is starting to stumble now. Its neck is bleeding pretty badly, and it's
so
kind of
I'm going to cast
this sort of a thing.
I'm going to cast Lay on Hands on the horse, since I don't need it for the merchant anymore, and keep the animal from bleeding out on me, since it did its job.
Okay, it stops stumbling and calms down, and now it's just sort of, snickering, whatever the horses make when they're nickering. That's it. It's nervous.
Nickering.
It's nervous, but yes, not snickering. Not laughing. It's nickering. So it is really nervous about everything that just happened.
It's noisy.
And the fire seems to be making it a little bit anxious. So it's slowly sort of trotting back a little bit away from the fire. And as this is happening, everybody else is arriving, and you are doing what with this body?
Well, I'm motioning to Bjorn that the merchant needs medical attention. The one that Sled fucked with.
So Bjorn, you can see that this man is really pale. His eyes are rolling back in his head, and he's not making sense. He's sort of mumbling now, and it looks like something was biting at and chewing at his abdomen. He has loops of intestine, and what looks like part of his liver is just coming out through where his side is torn open. There's ropes tightly bound around his arms, and they are chopped off right like midway between
might
in the
be
forearm.
beyond saving, but I'd try.
And his back
Mm-hmm.
is his entire backside is just the clothes are tattered and torn, and he is bleeding and just raw. And he starts mumbling about the guard, my rings. And other than the guard and my rings, my horse, you can't really understand what he's saying. It's just a lot of mumbling.
All right, I hop
He's
off.
delirious.
I immediately assess the situation. I start taking some holy water and cleaning him with it and pushing things back kind of where they go. Now,
he screams briefly when you push his liver.
I understand, but I'm focused here. Now,
it's a weak scream.
Yeah, because of my wisdom looking at him, would I know that cure light wounds will be enough to stabilize him and
yes,
and get him to heal up so that he doesn't die further, or do I realize that he is so far gone that if I don't use cure serious wounds, he's not going to make it? I don't want to waste a more powerful spell than I need to, so I'm using my
this guy is at well here's the thing though. Cure light wounds, D6, he's a fucking common.
Well,
D8. He's got like wait a second. Cure light wounds, I thought it was D6 plus 1.
No, it's D8 per the player's handbook.
That works too. So he's a commoner. So that's practically all of his hit dice right there. So you can tell based on his wounds that it's not going to get him back to 100%. He's pretty fucking bad, but it will stop him from dying.
Okay. All right. So as I'm doing that and getting him so that as his skin will start to knit together, and place my hands on him and offer a prayer to Thor, Odin's son, to watch over this poor man, and just your humble servant tries to do your will in the world, etc., and cast cure light wounds on him. So, do you want to roll the D8 or do you want me to, Drew?
You roll the D8.
Okay. And I rolled a 7.
Nice. So you can see as you are casting this on him that these bloody raw ends where his arms are cut off, slowly they start to scab over. They don't quite heal, but they do start to scab over, and the bleeding stops, and everything in his where it's torn up slowly starts to almost looks like a scarry scab, and his back, instead of becoming raw, just becomes sort of pinkish and scabbed. So he is slowly beginning to heal, but not completely. But now he's still just kind of delirious with the pain of all of it. But he is stable. You can tell that he's got a weak pulse, and his breath rate is it's like almost like he's in shock, but he is not going to die.
Okay.
He might want to die.
I apologize to him that I'm sorry I'm not able to save your hands, but you don't have them any longer for me to save.
He took my rings.
Who?
The guard.
All right.
He said he would protect me from thieves, that it was dangerous to travel at night, and he would escort me back.
There's no guard that would do this. That has to be SLED.
Yep. I concur.
Yep.
He explains that when they were a short distance out of town...
Did he smell weird?
He said, yes, he did smell awful. And something about him just didn't look right.
That clinches it.
I'm well. Come on in.
But he just remembers being struck from behind, and then he came to being dragged behind his cart, and his hands had been cut off. So he had been knocked out, and when he came to, he was just being dragged. And he said, just a little while ago, he just cut the ropes and left me here, and kept going off into the woods. He has my cart, all my goods, my horse.
We're not gonna be able to catch him.
I don't know. You might be able to fly up and or continue to fly. I don't know how much time you've got left on your spell.
I've got about 2 hours in total. Depends
Have I
on what I
seen
roll.
Bint at all?
You are not well, let's see. When you think about it, when you are consciously wondering about Bint, sometimes he'll appear. You notice Bint kind of sitting on the head of the bear now.
Okay.
And he's just looking really sad.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's a dead gnome and died horrifically, so he would be. But he's just kind of sad looking, and he's pointing at the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Going,
Yeah, we're going to end up causing a lot of damage to the nearby farmers and villagers if we don't try to contain it a little bit. Now that we've sort of triaged everything, I mean, unless Ulfer wants to go fly off and try to catch this clown, we probably need to.
No, I suggest we allow him to try to get. He has to try to remove the curse. He has to get back. So I suggest we get back to the town and go talk to the wizard. That'd be my guess is where he would eventually head, unless there's somewhere else. Like, all right. So what do we know this area? Like, what could Sled be escaping to? What could he be fleeing to?
So
what could be fleeing?
There
to?
are other cities, not anything too close. It would be maybe a few days ride. If he just keeps going east, there are some, or I should say, were some coastal villages and ports. There would be some port cities.
Are they in the direction of the goblins?
He would have to, if he continues and goes more north instead of east, he might be able to avoid them. If he keeps going east, he's going to go straight into where the goblins are. The goblins were almost directly east.
All right, well, that's in our favor.
He would probably know. So to avoid that, assuming that he's able to, he would have to veer north. And I would have to check some maps and see what would have been the closest city, or we'll just make one up. It's medieval fantasy.
If he goes too far north, he's going to end up in the place where those crazy people are up north in Scotland. What would have been known as Scotland, but not at this point in history.
Yeah,
so
was it would have been Picts? I don't know.
Probably the Picts.
But
yeah.
So he may be heading in that direction. Who knows? But there would and hey, it's fantasy. We can make it whatever. That there is, of course, there would be coastal cities. Mm-hmm. So Jorvik happens to be at the intersection of these rivers, which makes it a convenient place for coming inland up these rivers. But there, if you follow the river or go east and then north, yes, there would be another city. And let's say that he can make it there within maybe 3 or 4 days of riding.
Right. I don't think that's all right. Well, we need to have a little meeting. In the meantime, I'm going to cast Ice Storm on the fire.
That puts it out. It hasn't spread far enough that you are not able to just completely stop it with that.
All right, so I started that. I might as well stop it, and I do. So I'll try to gather everybody up and say, look, we need to figure out. We're too far behind Sled to make any difference right now.
I'm not sure if we are that too far. Is my only thing. I'm uncertain of that, both as a player and as a character. So my curiosity is that if you, as long as you haven't dispelled your flight, if you are able,
I'm low on spells. We're tired.
Yeah.
And
I'm just afraid if he gets away, he's going to get away and he's going to live large. And my sense of justice, both based on my alignment and my occupation, makes it hard to let go.
I totally get that. I understand where you're coming from. But bear in mind Sled's psychology. He will attempt to reverse the both the curse and try to get revenge on us. We will see Sled again. We could take a vote on it, but
while you are discussing this, the barbarians smell something familiar. And so I'm going to take a piss while you guys discuss it. I'll still be able to hear.
All right.
You notice
make sure you mute yourself too, by the way.
Oh yeah, my microphone is right here. There's no microphone.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
So as you are discussing this, now you're a little ways back. You're not right up on the tree line, but where those wolves are,
yeah.
2 owl bears have just come out and started to eat the wolves. And right now you can see that they can see you, but they don't seem interested in you. They're just eating, but be aware of that.
All right. We're fine with leaving them alone for now.
Yeah. My thing is, I was thinking that if you flew and could catch up to him,
here's
Bent could be with you and I'm not sure if he's able to travel as a ghost and therefore has a move rate, or if he's able to be one place and then pop up somewhere else to like alert us, or at least tell me how far behind you we are.
I think
either disengage or not, because a horse-drawn wagon is not as fast as a horse.
I think the owlbears are telling us are a kind of deliberate game mechanic to tell us like continuing in that direction is going to be problematic. And maybe
we either have to continue forward with problems or reverse and then regroup.
Yeah, I like the regroup option. I've got a nervous wizard who's useless to me with no spells, and much. You know my horse is in shock. You know, and he's brand new. I just bought him, and so like let's just let's get this merchant back to the town. You know, maybe he's filthy rich and he can reward us somehow because we went through great lengths to save his life, and
touch base with the wizard because we could.
I like that idea too.
We might be able to ask him for help with Sled. Like, is there a way to with the curse on him? Is there a way to track him somehow with his ass face, like some kind of seeking stone or some kind of bullshit like that? Right. I know you can hear me, Drew. So cogitate on that shit for a while your dick is in your hand.
My question was. Was it smelling ass again? Is that what we're smelling? But that's true.
Well, yeah, he's got his face is an ass. Plus, he's wearing corpse faces. So that's
like smell of death.
I think what you're smelling is the owlbears.
Yeah,
the owlbears.
Yeah, that's what Drew was talking about there. Where the merchant was talking about smelling odd is because obviously he has breath like crap, literally. So because of his ass face. So
and he's wearing a corpse face which is starting to deteriorate.
Yeah.
He would probably smell pretty bad after a bit.
Yeah.
That, and again, his rectum and his mouth have been magically switched. So
yeah.
I mean, literally he's got to wear these corpse faces because he doesn't. When he talks, the sound is literally coming from his ass because that's where his mouth is now because of the curse.
We need to go back to the wizard in the town. touch base with the Jarl, try to get some recompense from the rescuing this well-known merchant, an affluent merchant, and then trying to, if we can, try to find some way to track Sled through the curse. Maybe some kind of
the merchant tells you that he's not from this town, that he is from one of the coastal towns, but just to take him back to an inn in town, and or to the temple of Odin, because he has all of his money, all of his valuables have been stolen. Everything that he had with him was in his. There was a chest that was on his cart of all of everything that he brought in town to sell, and all of the gold that he earned selling it. So he has nothing with him. So and now he has no fucking hands, and he was a jeweler. So he basically made jewelry and brought it here and other places to sell. So,
well, that's not happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. But he tells you that he had 2 rings, and that he used to make jewelry for a wizard, and he would make this jewelry for the wizard. He would commission these things for this wizard to enchant, and as payment, he had enchanted 2 of his rings for him. One that gave him the ability to teleport for just short distances in I've got this written down somewhere. I wrote everything down so I'd have this. So one of these rings would allow him to teleport once a day, himself and up to 5 others, because it was convenient for him to get back and forth if there was any sort of danger while he was on the road. But also, the other ring allowed him to heal very quickly from any damage or any injuries.
It's like my regeneration ring, yeah.
And he was wearing those rings before he came to and realized he was being dragged from his own wagon, and then realized that he couldn't do anything to grab the ropes because his hands had been cut off. So he didn't just take off his rings, he just cut his...
All right, so Sled has a teleportation ring and a healing ring.
He does now.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
And all of this guy's gold and jewels.
Yeah. See, that's why I'm having a hard time not chasing after him.
Fucker needs to die.
Yeah, and the more time he has to strategize and plan, the more dangerous he becomes to us.
We can follow him if you want. I'm just letting you know that I am low on spells, aside from the wand, and Noble's horse is wounded.
Well,
now,
and the thing is,
some of you mentioned
you guys need to rest, and you need to recharge, and
I
need healing.
I need to heal.
I'm going to interject here real quick because you guys were talking about going to the wizard I think it was Skargrim was the name, and about finding him.
Yeah.
Ulfar would have noticed when you were in his tower. You would have maybe the rest would not have, but because you are a magic user and you have studied this, you would recognize different implements and devices for what they are, and you thought you saw some sort of a mirror that would normally be used for scrying.
Palantir.
Or at least it looked like something like that, and you suspect that maybe If that is actually a scrying mirror, that Scargrim may help you locate where Sled is.
All right. That's perfect. That does help. Yeah. So I remember this. I'll relay that to my companions and say, look, we have to rest. We have to heal. I need to recover my spells, otherwise I'm useless. And I think the wizard Scargrim, good old SG. I seem to recall he had a scrying mirror which might help us find where Sled is, and he won't know that we know where he is. So that'll give us, and with the help of Carl and anything else we can find, we should be able to get the drop on that son of a bitch.
Well, we can't very well drag this poor merchant off in his condition.
No, we need to bring him back to town.
So,
yeah.
One of the owlbears is slowly making its way, just sort of lumbering towards all of you, and it looks like it is attempting to be sneaky. Of course, it's the size of a fucking bear. So
I turn around and very nonchalantly point my wand of fire at it, and I throw a fireball at it.
All right.
Shit.
Could the barbarians domesticate it?
No, we are not taking along an owlbear.
No.
I don't think once it's an adult you would have to capture
That's categorized as a monster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. So roll for damage. Let me check what I had for the
It's going to be 60. It's going to be 66 points of damage for the wand. Let me get on my d6s.
The force on fire again.
Fuckers, my owlbear stats. There we go.
22 points, unless he makes a saving throw, and it's half. So full is 22.
Okay. So
half would be 11.
It does not make its saving throw.
So it's 22 points of fire damage directly on the owlbear.
All right, that fucking hurt it pretty.
Fuego.
Yeah. So as this thing is approaching, fireball slams into it, and you see it kind of pull off, and its feathers all light up, and some of its fur, and it is absolutely and the thing rears up and lets out this horrendous screech. And as it does, the other one comes charging forward as well. Now, this first one is now probably 30, 40 something feet away from you guys. And the other one is approaching. Somebody roll a d6. Anybody? Actually, all for you attack. Roll a d6.
All right. 6.
Yeah, I got a fucking 1, so it would have been hard for you to not guess. So you guys have the initiative. So we'll just go top down in the order on the screen here. I'm assuming everybody sees the same layout that I'm seeing. So Ulfer,
So to have weapon spells. I don't want to waste the wand either. Let's see. I do have Hold Monster, a 5th level spell. So on that second owlbear, I will use the Hold Monster spell.
Okay. And does it have any chance of saving?
I'm not sure. I think it's a Hold Monster, which is the same as a Cleric spell.
Just to check.
I think. Let me see. Or maybe not.
Let's see what level is Hold Monster. I'm looking at the wrong.
God damn it.
Hold Monster. Person.
Hold Monster, okay. Mobilizes from 1 to 4 creatures. I'll hold both of them.
Okay.
It's within range. Half a yard per level. Each saving throw is at normal. If 2 are attacked, each saving throw is at -1 on the die.
Oh, there's a limit on the HP per level, or the hit dice.
No. Well, it's.
What did it say about hit dice per level?
It's not a hit dice per level. It's basically how many. So if 2 are attacked, each saving throw is at -1 on the die, which is a disadvantage. But if one, a slight disadvantage, and if but 1 is attacked, the saving throw is at -3 on the die. Partially negated whole monster spells affect equal those of a slow spell. So if they both make their saving throw, then they're just slowed.
So,
so you have to make their saving throw at a -1.
Fuck, I don't think saving throw against spells. Fuck, I don't think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, so the first one did not. Now it's held and burning, and the second one made its saving throw though. So the one
now it's slowed.
Okay, so the one that was on fire is now just sitting there burning and not moving, and the other one is
that's awesome.
Sort of
can't cause any
lumbering
fire damage
along towards you,
like in slow motion.
Yeah. So next is that
that's
Bjorn?
me. Yeah. All right.
Up, Bjorn.
I will smack the one that's moving that hasn't been damaged with my hammer.
Okay, you got to run up to it. It's not.
Oh, that's fine. I will do so.
Okay.
15 plus 1 plus 1, so 17 is what I rolled to hit, and I need a 16 to hit 0.
Okay, yeah, that hits. That hits. All right, roll for damage.
And is this counted as large? Owlbears, I believe,
yeah, it's large. They're fucking.
Yeah.
Huge.
So 4 points of damage.
So it slams it a good one, and it's a little bit stunned there. Okay, and then Dane is doing what?
I feel like I need to let somebody else take a little action here. I got to kill.
Okay.
What
is Vidar doing? Yeah, we get. That's what I'm trying to get a little more comment in, so everybody gets to.
Yeah, I'm going to wait.
Mix it up a little bit.
I'll just use my spear as an attack.
All right. Do you want to attack the owlbear that is burning and held, or the other one that is moving that Bjorn is engaging right now? Because that's probably the more dangerous one.
Yeah, I'm not quite visualizing. I got one who is engaged with.
Okay, so Bjorn is fighting one, and the other one appears to have stopped moving, and your character would suspect that it's something that Ulfr did. It looks like a magical effect. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I'll help Bjorn.
And you're using your spear?
Yeah.
Are you throwing it or stabbing with it?
I'll stab.
Okay. Make an attack roll.
With a D20.
Yep.
Stand by. I gotta use this.
Let's check the damage for spears here.
I rolled a 19. Wow.
Nice.
Gotta use my Palantir stone here to see everything. All right, let me see. What are my modifiers here?
Okay, so a spear against a large opponent does 1d8 damage.
1d8.
So you want to roll a d8
plus your strength.
Do I get a strength adjustment? I think.
Yeah.
What's your strength?
18 strength.
That's plus 3.
Yeah.
So that is a d8.
Yep.
Plus 3.
Plus 3. Okay.
Is plus 3 just for fighter, or and plus 2 for everything else at 18?
I think it's straight across. Plus 3.
Let's just go with plus 3 right now. I'll look it up later. It's gonna. I'm not gonna worry about it. Barbarian's kind of a subset of fighter anyway, so.
I got a full 8.
Nice. 11 points.
Nice. Holy shit. Okay. So the spear plunges right through this thing's side, and you can see it, starting to pull back. Blood just sprays out from where it goes in, and this thing is just roaring. Then what? Oh, what is Galdor doing? Galdor's on his bear.
Yeah, he's stepped away.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna assume
that the bear is going to attack
if Galdor's not, I'm gonna say the bear is gonna go after the other owl bear and attack it. And it's
ignore the flaming bug owlbear.
I was just thinking, what would the bear do? I think the bear would just go after that and just kill it outright.
Absolutely.
Start mauling it.
Correct.
So as you guys are fighting this other one, Galdor's bear charges and just starts tearing into the held owl bear that is now, you can tell, you can see just terror in its eyes, but it can't move. And then why the hell, where is the name of
AJ's character?
Greg?
Sigismund.
Greg. Sigismund, okay.
Yeah.
So what is Sigismund doing?
All right. So when I made my character sheet, he had a glaive, so picked one of those up from the arena. So I'm gonna charge with my glaive at the one.
Nice.
And your glaive would be so much cooler if it was like the one in Crawl as opposed to being a full arm.
Yeah. That's like 1d12, isn't it?
It's a D10.
It depends. It's a D10 for the regular glaive, yeah. So against large creatures, yep. All right, make an attack roll on this thing.
So going with the D20 first, right?
Yep.
Yes. Plus your strength on that.
So it's 6 with my strength.
Let's see if that's gonna.
Bad rolls again.
Okay,
Okay, let me check.
You need some new dice there, AJ.
Yeah, that is going to miss. So you swing wide. As you're swinging the glaive, same time that Vidar hits it with the spear. So the spear causes it to shift and just out of the way of your glaive as you're coming. So now the owl bear, holy fuck, it's got 3 attacks. So Bjorn is like dead center on it. So it's going to attack Bjorn. Then it's going to attack Vidar. Then it will attack Sigismund. And oh fucking fuck. So
shit.
20. So
this is gonna
the
hurt.
first claw attack on Bjorn does 8 points of damage. It manages to just catch you with that across the arm as you're pulling back the hammer, tearing into your flesh and causing gouts of blood to spurt out. With the other claw, fucking fuck. Okay, so let me check his
my
armor
AC
class.
0.
Yeah, it hits you. It hits you. It was a 20. Net 20. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So you got
Full
2 20s on me?
No, the second one was not on you. The second attack.
Okay. Oh,
was,
I
the second
thought,
attack
I
was
thought you
on
were rolling
Vidar.
the second one and said something about armor class.
No, first attack was on Bjorn. Second attack was on Vidar. Vidar's third attack is on Sigismund because you're all like right there. And so AC 5. Oh, okay. So yeah, it. Shit, 6 points of damage to Vidar.
Okay.
And then the last attack, it is going to attempt to chomp down with that big owl beak on Sigismund. And you are able to just pull back out of the way, and this thing snaps. The snap is it's almost like a whip crack as it clamps down just inches from where your face was a moment ago. So it was really, really close. Back to Ulfer. You see them beating the fuck out of this thing, but it did just manage to get two pretty heavy claw attacks.
All right, I've got
Make a
one
chunk
magic
out
missile.
of-
I have one magic missile spell left. I'm going to fire that off, and then automatically hits. And I have 5d4. I think I may have more, but I think it's 5. Let me go ahead and roll.
Are you sure you
5d4.
don't have more at your level?
It might be 6, but let's go with 5 because I'm not sure. I'll do 5 to be fair. Where's the other?
Let everybody else kill some stuff.
Exactly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 points. Glowing red darts go flying into this piece of shit for 10 points.
As these guys are fighting it, these red glowing darts are whipping around in between them, just curling and slamming into the hide of this thing, just knocking it back and causing it visible pain. It's grunting and screeching with every hit, and you can tell it's being battered pretty bad by these. So now, Bjorn, this thing just raked your arm pretty hard there. What are you going to do?
I will strike it again with my hammer. Natural 20.
Nice. It's full damage.
Damn. All right.
All right, here we go.
And the lightning strike.
4 points of natural damage. 5 and 6, so 11 points of electrical damage.
So is that a total 15 points damage total?
Yes.
So as you are swinging the hammer, you start to see little sparks and arcs of lightning forming around it. And as soon as you strike this thing, there is an almost deafening boom of thunder as a lightning bolt flies straight down from the clouds above and just slams into this thing, causing it to arch its back. It's almost spasming as these rivulets of arcs of light are passing over it, and you can almost hear the sizzling. But it's still moving. It is obviously in pain, and it sounds like a few things may have popped and snapped when it got hit by the lightning and the hammer, but it is still moving. So what does, I guess Dane is just enjoying the show with he's shining his golden codpiece. Or are you going to attack, or are you going to let these guys kill this?
Are we? I don't think we're at any. I mean, this guy should be moving slow. The other one is just standing there burning to death. I mean, unless we think that I need to jump in. I'm gonna babysit the merchant. We'll call it.
All right.
that.
Yeah, he's still, he's just he's a complete mess because just like everything that he had has been stolen, including his 2 prized possessions.
And plus, someone's got to hold the reins to the 2 horses. So we've got those to go back. So it makes sense for Dane to stand there protecting the merchant and holding on to the horses. So
what is Vidar going to do? You going to get it with the spear again?
Sure, why not? Let's do
All right,
that.
make an attack roll.
10.
Let me check that hits. Because you also have your modifier to add to this.
Right. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So I believe for the spear, it was a D8.
Do I need to roll the dice?
Yep, roll a D8.
Okay. That is a 2 plus whatever.
Okay, add your strength to that. 5. So. And again, pull the spear out and plunge it, this time into its neck. And another gout of blood goes spraying out, washing over the spear, and you can almost taste it splashing over your face. And Jared is still not okay. So Jared is still trying to maintain the reins on his bear as it's tearing into this other owl bear and just feasting on it now. So now what is Sigismund doing? Gonna take another swipe with Dave.
Yes.
All right.
So that is a 17.
That hits.
And where's my 10? That's a 5 plus 1, so it's a 6.
Okay. And you swing and just open up a huge gash along the side of this thing. So now feathers and fur go flying. There is a spray of blood, and as the skin falls away, you can see a long section where it's just meat and exposed ribs. You cut this thing deep, and instead of attempting to attack, it slowly starts to turn, and it is attempting to drag itself away from you now. It is not moving, or it's stumbling and trying to get away from you. So
I say we keep going after it. That's dinner now.
I don't know. Back to Ulfer, and then whatever anybody else wants to do. So it realizes that it is outmatched and is probably going to die, and it is.
Well, I'm not putting myself in danger or waste any more spells on this thing, so I'm going to let it go.
Bjorn.
Yes.
What do you want to do?
I'll strike it again with my hammer.
Right.
Uh, 16.
Well, that hits.
And 4 more points of damage.
Just 4? What about your strength bonus?
That was with my strength bonus. The hammer versus large is only 1d4.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. With the blunt weapons, it goes the other way. It's less against the large. Okay. So you hit it as it's turning, and you feel as you connect with back. You have probably broken its spine, broken its pelvis, and it lets out this bellow sort of screech, and its back legs sort of just drop, and now it is attempting to drag itself away on its front legs as it is dragging its back legs behind it and just leaving this blood trail. So I guess if Dane's just watching, what does Vidar do? This thing is pretty much on its last. It's literally on its last legs. It's just on its forelegs at this point.
Sure. And I'm attacking from behind, so I'll go ahead and use the spear again. Here's a roll. Oh, it is a 19.
Got a 19?
Yeah.
Plus 3.
19 hits. You guys are rolling really well.
Let me grab that 8-sided again.
Or plus 2, I should say.
Yeah, okay. And that's a 3 plus my strength bonus.
So it's 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So you plunge the spear now into its back, going right up through, plunging almost all the way to your grip, and pull out. And this thing is just now making this kind of pathetic gurgling noise as it is just slumping and barely dragging itself. It looks like it is going, but it's still managing to drag itself away. So Sigismund,
Me going for the killing blow.
Coup de grace.
Cut its throat.
To eat.
That is a 9.
9.
Fuck.
And plus 1, so 10.
That would hit.
Oh, thank God.
All right. Roll the D10.
Yeah, this thing, it with the condition, even if you rolled worse,
That's 8
you're
plus 1,
attacking
so it's
from
a
behind
9.
on something that can barely move now. So it would almost, it's practically paralyzed. So
hit it with 9.
Yeah, hit
9.
Yep.
So you come up alongside it and bring the glaive down, and its head rolls clear off.
Nice.
You just almost like you meet just for an instant. There's a little bit of a catch when it hits that vertebrae, and then it just goes through, and the head just rolls right off. There is gouts of blood and gore spraying out. The whole thing just slumps to the ground, and it is dead.
Nice.
Right. I want to retrieve the head because I want to make a bone helm out of it later.
Nice.
I think my headphones got switched for the thing when I walked out. Hopefully, it hasn't been causing. Damn it!
We need to wrap up soon too. This would be a good place to stop.
I want to ask the guys a question about strategy next time. We're going to stop.
What?
Now a good time?
So this thing is dead.
Oh, there.
I'm
there
sorry.
we go.
I just had to switch it back. I was on my external speakers. I was worried it might have been.
I just made a comment that this will be a good place for us to stop and rest, or at least get back to town and rest and get the merchant back, and then stop here because it's well after the 2-hour mark.
Oh shit. Okay. So is the plan to bring the merchant back to town, and what do you want to do? Drop him off? Well, what do you want to do? Because he's
Thor had an idea. What was your idea, Thor?
Well, I wanted to ask you guys some background because I'm a little lost on the Sled here. Sled got cursed, and his face got turned into an asshole, right?
Correct.
He insulted a wizard who he had some history with, who he'd attempted to burgle a few times previously, and the wizard was fed up with him. And as a way to punish him for being insolent and obnoxious, the wizard cursed him so that his mouth and anus switched places. So now he has an anus where his mouth would be, and his mouth is where his anus would be.
Right.
And that is a curse that was cast on him by this wizard. So nobody knows if it's permanent, if it will automatically stop at some point, or what's going on.
So he was a part of this group. So I would ask the group, since I'm new, what drives Sled at this point? Is it the removal of the curse?
Well, he was never part of our group.
Oh, he was.
Not this
That's
group.
my misunderstanding.
He's a different incarnation of Sled, but he's still an Aaron Clary incarnation.
The reason I was asking is there a possibility when we get back to this wizard, or the wizard, that did we have enough information where we could lay a trap for him so that he would show up, but the advantage would be ours? Like we could talk to this wizard and see if we could purchase maybe something like a potion or a spell that's like would give him like a massive diarrhea or extreme constipation, so he'd be debilitated in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
So the situation was, and I'm assuming that this would have probably come up during conversation with the group at some point. So background for you, and of course your character will learn about this from the other characters. Sled was a somewhat notorious thief. He was wanted for all sorts of crimes. He's primarily a thief, but also just a bit of a bastard in general. Yes.
Okay.
A thief, murderer, rapist, just a terrible, terrible criminal. And at the same time that this group was visiting the Jarl, kind of the leader of this particular city, Sled was also in the Longhouse on trial for other crimes. And because the Jarl had tasked them with dealing with a problem they were having with werewolves, who apparently were coming from a particular area of the town that Sled was familiar with, he was offered the opportunity to have his freedom if he agreed to assist the group in locating the hideout of these werewolves, which he did. He led them to where the entrance was to this underground warren of tunnels. There used to be all sorts of tunnels for thieves to get around town with, and places for them to hide their goods, secret meeting places. There's a whole network of tunnels and sewers and secret hiding places under this entire city. And he was somewhat familiar with it. So he did lead them down there, where they did find the source where these werewolves were, killed all of them, killed this werewolf like demon creature, basically spawn of Hell and Fenrir. And yes, if you're familiar with the mythology, that's as messed up as it sounds. This thing was, imagine a massive demonic undead werewolf monstrosity. It was they managed to defeat it. Sled almost died in the attempt. Managed though to slip out when they were all getting away. And later they encountered him at this big gathering on the north end of town. A group had come in with entertainers, and the main event was going to be this big pit fight. Slaves and these cave bears. So just basically they travel around and put on these shows. There's betting, there's food, there's dancing girls and bards and skalds and the whole thing. So it's almost kind of like a fair with lots of more violence and whoring. But Sled made a big mess out of the whole thing. Was trying to pickpocket people and steal from people in the audience, and then to get away from the guards, he was forced to flee into where the fighting was in the pit. He released some of the cave bears to cause chaos and managed to escape in all of the chaos. Chased after the bookie who had all of the valuables that people were betting, and murdered and robbed him, and that's what led to everything else. So the group was briefly paired with Sled so that he could act as a guide when they dealt with the werewolf problem, and that is their interaction with him. But they did not necessarily get along, but he was kind of forced into the situation with them, and they were forced to rely on him because of his knowledge of these tunnels. So there were some other interactions, though, where Ulfr had set him on fire, and I believe Dane had kicked his teeth in.
Yep.
So there had been some other confrontations between them. So they had a little bit of some conflict before this even happened. So he is hostile towards them. And this particular character, and basically I made him just way worse than Aaron Clary's Sled character. He's loosely based on Aaron Clary's Sled character from a previous campaign. Just kind of ran with it. It worked. But this is way worse. He's like a chaotic evil, just super malicious thief. But his motivation,
yes,
is basically he just chaotic evil. He does whatever pleases him at the moment. Literal. I mean, this character is a psychopath. He steals, he murders, he rapes. He is just basically. He's a terrible character. Which is going to make it all the sweeter when you guys finally catch up with him, assuming that happens.
So, just like any chaotic psychopath, if the pot is sweet enough, that's where we'll find him.
Pretty much.
Where there are valuables to be stolen and wenches to be raped, that's where you're going to find him.
All right, we need to wrap up, gentlemen.
Thanks.
So we're going to head back to town, rest, and then get this merchant squared away with some more healing and let him be about his business.
And do you guys want to pick up at Skargrim, the Wizard's Tower, next time?
I think that's a good idea, so we can get that scrying mirror, yeah.
Yep, I think that's a good place to start.
Yep.
Good plan.
I like it.
All right, cool. All right, gentlemen. Great game once again, Drew. Great DMing as always.
Had a lot of fun.
Indeed.
Thank you for the background.
Nobody died.
Right. Nobody died.
None of the player characters died. A lot of people died, just not you.
Correct. All right.
Hey, we saved the life.
We'll email on all the XP. What doesn't kill you gives you XP. So we'll get all that sorted out in the levels for everybody in the next week or two.
Cool. And I'll get the thread for the Rollo's game will be sometime in July, and then we have a mini painting game on July 5th in the evening. But I'll send out emails for that.
I've got nothing to paint, but I'll come hang out.
Yeah, sure. I'll send you the link. Everyone on the panel here.
I need to get another 3D. I had a 3D printer. We sold them and got out of it, but I should do that again.
Yeah, get some paints together and hang out with us. But I'll email everybody and keep an eye out for that. So in the meantime, let me play one of our outro commercials.
All men are geeks. Stop denying it, you bastards. And some of us are tabletop role-playing game geeks. Join us for some non-SJW, non-woke, non-PC bullshit, old-school advanced Dungeons and Dragons. At least once per month, sometimes twice, we get together with Dungeon Master Rollo Tomasi and Drew Baye for some dice slinging in the world of Dungeons and Dragons. If you're tired of the woke assholes that abound in tabletop gaming, these sniveling, overly sensitive, easily offended dipshits, then be sure to tune into Masculine Geek Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We're not politically correct. We're raw, unfiltered, and uncensored Dungeons and Dragons gamers. Get on board, pussies. We're making history. No broads allowed. Get your own game, ladies. Spurgs and tards need not apply.
Aaron Clary's gay.